What up, gamers? Counterfeit here, along with ByronVilla to bring you week number 2 of the second split of Valanth's Blood Bowl competition. Byron, who have we got on our screens here today?
We have Coach Shenzin with his Ravenous Tigress, and then Arbush on the other side of, I was going to say the Rift, but it's actually the pitch here, with his Chariot of Chads. Shenzin running the Amazons, and Arbush is running the Elven Union.
So coming into this one, I do note that both teams coming into week 2 with an unbeaten record. The Ravenous Tigress getting that first win over your good self, Byron. What happened there?
There is one side of me that wants to just say that Shenzin got lucky, that son of a gun, but I am going to go ahead and say that I made a few mistakes in that match and he fully capitalized. He was just able to sneak around my players and get himself that 1 or 2 touchdown that mattered. So well played to him there. He was very slippery, I'm finding, the Amazon team. Thanks to that dodge skill that plenty of the team have, it's very hard to pin down a member of that squad.
Yeah, the Chads, coached by Arbush, getting a 4-1 win their first time out against Mezzi's Scaling Scrimmers. Really impressive stuff as the quick snap allows for the Elven Union squad to reorganize themselves a little bit and make some progress down the right-hand side of the pitch. They're committing in pretty heavily early on.
They are. There are advantages and disadvantages to doing this, though. They have this great setup right now, and because they have so many people on one side, and they're lucky they didn't get a run-in with anyone else, so they can kind of use a numbers advantage on one side of the map and just take complete control. The issue is shoving all your guys on one side of the map is the other side kind of vulnerable. So we'll see how Shenzin wants to attack this, whether he wants to go around the side and use that kind of big open space that he's been given, or just try and block the big charge head on.
So you can see Kiana, one of the blitzers for the Amazon squad. Both these teams very similar with blitzers, catchers, and throwers, along with line people comprising the team. We've already seen a pass from Hashi the Chad, and there's a lot of players on the Elven Union squad after that first game at 4-1 victory who are very close to leveling up. So fully expect to see a lot of passing going on in this game just to farm up some SVP, as well as trying to get as many goals in as possible.
Yeah, that'll be a big goal. Obviously, early on, you want to get as much SPP as you possible. Get your guys leveled up quickly so you can use those extra skills against your opposition. That's going to be a very, very important thing to track, is who really is leveling up this game. Is sort of knocked down there. I'm interested to see how Shenzin's going to tackle this kind of cage that we see often. It looks like he's just going to stand everyone around and kind of try and move the cage out of the way. As long as he can keep this guy with the ball marked, it will help him a lot, because it's very hard to get away from these guys.
Yeah, I mean, we've now got 2 different players marking the ball carrier for Arbush there, so they're in perhaps a little bit of trouble. That agility 4, the main big difference between the Elf team and the Amazon team here. The Elf team can get away with a lot more as the Amazons are swarming themselves down. Notice it is a catcher right now who's got the ball, so no block or dodge if anything does go awry.
Yeah, and you see how quickly this numbers advantage that they had on the side of the map has just crumbled, due to the fact that Shenzin's been able to move a lot of his players down so quickly. What I do find interesting is the fact that Arbush has opted to keep a few of his players back. I don't know whether that's a safety precaution to try and, if he does lose the ball, that he has some kind of protection, or whether or not it is just him just kind of leaving players out to try, because I feel like numbers advantage is so important to try and get on the side of the pitch. However, he seems to be making things work on his own, and that's already a touchdown.
Wow, yeah. Well, I mean, Stone the Chad getting the touchdown right immediately there. I didn't really expect things to go quite as quickly as that, but the handoff was very smart play there from Arbush to sneak the ball out without having to worry about being marked by multiple players, and then just use the blitz to open up the space. But this gives an enormous amount of turns for Shenzin to equalize.
Yeah. And that's the big risk you take from scoring early. I learned this against my good friend Ricardo Chui in this week's match. sometimes you don't want to score as early in the round. Sometimes it can be very good just to stall it out and make sure that the enemy team has no way to score back or to deal with another touchdown, because you don't really want to give anyone a way back into the game.
All right, so
And
we've got...
right, you go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, all we've got is just the setup right here. It's notable as well from the side of Arbush. They have got a couple of linemen in there. This is one of the Elven Union squad has got relatively cheap linemen for an elf team, but they're still pretty expensive compared to some of the other races linemen, who admittedly are a lot less good, but a lot easier to replace.
Yeah, exactly. And see here, there's some extra movement that's been allowed here. We'll see what Shenzhen wants to do with it. Fiddles around with the ball. Unlucky.
Yeah, it's not quite as lucky as it was for Arbush, who managed to get the ball off the very first kick of the game, as the Amazons will set up on the line of scrimmage at central line, get some early hits in. Unfortunately for them, not managing to turn those into knockdowns as of yet. We'll have to keep an eye out for their blitzers. There we go. Love it.
That's what you want to see, really. You need to... as I think we discussed early on, both these teams' armor value is very, very similar, so we're expecting a good few injuries to pop out of this game. If these knockdowns do continue, that is, as we're only in turn 2.
Yes, and it's worth noting there something which just happened for Big Sexy. One of the blitzers for Arbush's squad is they have got sidestep as well as block. So pretty hard to put down, and as we saw there, he's able to choose the space that they're pushed back to. So Amazon's only getting that one knockdown this time round, despite having 4 blitzers. You can see the blitzers are not necessarily all engaged right now. Only one of them got to actually hit this time, and 2 of them are kind of hanging around the backfield, as we have an early turnover before the ball's even attempted to be picked up.
That is very, very unfortunate, and it means that now Arbush is going to be able to get a little bit of control on the board here. You do see as so many members just kind of close them in the middle that he can just fly them across the map and keep using his numbers advantage. As now there's already a defense for that ball down on the left side of the pitch, and that worries me because Arbush can now kind of swarm that area if he chooses to and take complete control and not let Shenzhen have his opportunity to score.
So we're seeing from the side of Arbush again. You noted before that Arbush was keeping some players back, so didn't commit in fully. And I wonder if they're actually going to be committing in fully for the ball here, because they're sending multiple players down the right-hand flank when the ball is far over to the left. We do see a player coming in. It's a -1 catch. -1 pickup. Still gets hold of the ball anyway, then passes it right back to the center. Whew, a risky play, but it pays off at least this time.
Yeah, this time it does, and it's going to be very tough for Shenzhen to do anything now, because once again, they've got a ball in a cage, and last time Shenzhen tried to kind of bully his way in to that kind of cage that was created, but it just didn't work in the end, as he was able to make a handoff happen. Now this time the cage, fair enough, a lot further up the pitch than last time, but Shenzhen, he's going to need to do something about that, because otherwise Arbush is just going to be able to walk once again with the ball and get another touchdown.
We've seen how willing Arbush is to chuck the ball around everywhere. I think maybe a missed opportunity here for Puma, who was right next to the ball carrier and could have maybe managed to go for a 1 dice block against them if these 2 were neutralized with assists. As the 1 dice block, speaking of those, does come in. That's another turnover. I think that's the same way that happened previously to put the ball back into Arbush's team's hands.
Yeah, that's why you do not go for the 1 dices.
Oh!
There's our first injury. It's Puma who will be down, and it's a missing next game, I believe. That's rough. You do not want to see that if you're Shenzhen, and you're already a player down. Now Arbush has the advantage, and that's double skulls, but he just rerolls it.
Yeah, double skulls into the best possible result. I mean, we're really looking out for these blitzers to be making an impact here, which they haven't really as of yet. They've got both dodge and block. The Amazons so strong when they start off that, if they're getting kept out of the main source of the action, which it seems to be the case here, that the Amazons are losing a lot of their potential strength.
Yeah, they really are, and this is a very tough spot for Shenzhen now, because he's given over kind of so much control. Due to making some kind of risky plays, I'd say. I mean, to be fair, Arbush has made some as well, and he's been the one who's been getting fortunate. But right now it's hard to see a way out for Shenzhen. At the very least, there's this cage that's been formed. I like what he's doing here, moving his players towards this area, trying to make it so tricky for them to move down. But his role is just he wants to knock someone down. He wants to get himself that numbers advantage back, but it's just not happening for him.
That's been pretty tough so far. Having to burn the reroll early on a 2-dice block. Most unfortunate. Means that the chances of being able to get at that ball carrier are minimal. Good marking there on the Korean Sophia. As it looks like we're seeing some pretty heavy focus from Shenzhen on trying to make sure there's nobody left in the backfield to be able to receive a pass from the rest of Barbash's squad.
Oh, and that stun gonna be useful, but not the biggest thing in the world. We'll see. I still think that Arbush definitely has the advantage here, despite the fact that he's been able to take a few of his players out of trouble. But the issue is he's kind of set himself up here for a lot of 2 dices to kind of go down, and that kind of worries me a lot because it means that his players are going to get kind of bullied here in this big jamboree of elves.
Yes, the cage, not only a protective measure, doing a great job of setting up several favourable blocks there. We'll see, we will get that pass, no, a handoff, in fact, to start things off, as we have got, no one to receive the ball apart from over here. Is in 2 tackle zones. Stone, as a throw gets fumbled, that's going to force out the reroll early on.
He's going for it, but now, wait, is he going to run for it? Oh my god. That's another touchdown.
That's the power of nerves of steel. It's another strength of the Elven Union squad we hadn't even mentioned yet. It's our catchers. Nerves of steel means they don't take any minuses from being in opposing tackle zones, making them extremely hard to keep from catching and doing exactly what happened there, taking the ball and running it right in for another goal.
Yeah, and initially I was questioning Arbush's decision there to hold off on the kind of touchdown. But it seems that he has a lot of confidence in how he's playing right now and scoring those big touchdowns, being able to wrestle the ball away. And right now, I mean, he's showing it. He's scored 2 now, and he's going to be looking for 3. But only 4 turns into the round.
Yeah, really, really nice setup there. Let's try and see if we can find who the... Yeah, so we've got Big Sexy has managed to score, get enough SPP to level up. That's huge for both of these teams that are trying to get the early advantage. As a blitz comes in, Chariot of Chaz with the bonus turn.
Yeah, and that's going to help. That's going to help Arbush even more, as now he's going to be able to move some players around the back here and start actually trying to pressure the ball already, despite the fact that he hasn't even had the chance to pick it up for Shenzhen. He's really had a rough time of it so far, and it's kind of a tough situation he's done himself in, because now he's going to have to try and score 2, which is going to be very difficult. He's going to have to make maximum use of each turn he has the ball, but just the way Arbush is playing right now, he seems to just know how to set up his team that little bit better.
Yeah, from the side of the Amazons, their formation actually turned out to be a pretty respectable defensive formation with these 2 blocks of 3 players there, keeping any kind of progression getting through there. As finally the Amazons start to get some hits in on the line of scrimmage, the ball still remains unpicked up at this point. But it's noticeable for the Elven Union. They've spread themselves to the left, they've spread themselves to the right. The center, though, is supremely weak right now, with now double stun on... meaning there's only 1 functional player left to defend the center.
What I find interesting here is that he hasn't picked up the ball. Instead, he's rushing through the dice rolls first. I think it's a lot more important for him to get that ball so that he doesn't risk a player just walking up, grabbing the ball, and then heading into the touchdown zone.
Yeah, that's a real possibility here. Is the Amazons, they don't seem to have a safety player coming back to make sure that this ball doesn't get stolen, as we do have the pickup this time. Fortunate for the Amazons, as we do have the handoff as well. We're going to be seeing the ball moved up the pitch a long way, but whew, that could have been disastrous.
And there we go. Once again, the cage has been created. Oh, putting his player a little bit off center there, but I do really like the setup now. There's 2 stun players. There's not really a way to attack this formation. And so, yeah, Shenzhen, he's fighting back now, and takes control of the center field very, very well, is able to bring a player up, and now is really one turn away from a touchdown unless Arbush has anything to say about it.
Yeah, I'm curious about the movement of the player out to the outside of the cage here. I think this is going to allow for them to get blitzed. Even if it's only a one-die blitz, that's still more than you'd expect to be able to get at this point. I think perhaps valuing, as you said, the ability to get towards that end zone as fast as possible. Get that touchdown. There's the blitz coming in. It's only a push, but that will mean we've got a very contested cage building up.
Yeah, exactly. And taking one dice rolls here, Arbush just wants to deal as much damage as he possibly can here. And yeah, Shenzin's now he's gonna have to fight his way out as he's taken the one dices again.
Oh no, I think it just switched over quickly to the Amazon side of things, but yes, so quickly I barely even noticed it myself, because we're seeing blocks coming in, and the Amazons, they're actually doing really well. Both blitzers getting defended down, and that's a KO as well. It might be that Arbush is going to regret getting into a full-on scrum here with the Amazon squad.
Yeah, there's already been a handoff. They're switching the focus now, and Queen Otter has managed to clear themselves away from any sort of threat, and now is getting some support from some other aligned women on the team. Now, what interests me is that Shenzin's going for one dice roll still. I think there's still one or two opportunities for him to get another good two dice roll in there, but he's risking it for the biscuit. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work out as well. I'm very, very worried right now for his bull carrier, because they're currently in a position that's very, very vulnerable. They can get blitzed very easily, and that would not be very nice to see.
No, I think there's a good chance they're going to get two dice splits as well. There's the first support moving in. We have to mark on Madame Beak to open up for the two dice. And it will be a defender down. Sending them to the side of the pitch is risky, though. If the ball goes off the pitch here, you end up getting thrown in. Won't go that way. Instead, ends up being right behind the elf there. I think we'll see a pickup. Yes, and any chances on this Amazon score seem to be a pretty long way away. I don't know what quite happened there, but deciding against standing next to the Amazon player to end that particular move.
Yeah, and now Shenzin's put himself in a tough position. He still has center stage control. So I want to see if he can still, take advantage of that himself. But he's going to have to now kind of move that control over to the right side of the flank to try and block off any sort of movement of this ball. Because if that gets, into the opposing half, all of a sudden, Shenzin's got to worry about another touchdown being scored. However, the good news is there's only 2 turns left. In fact, only 1 for Arbush. So I don't think we have a huge possibility of that on the table, as there has been a turn.
An unfortunate one-die block there doesn't go their way. Or at least I believe it was a one-die block, either that or it was a double skulls. As we have to move in, the dodge will make it hard to put down this Amazonian player, but as before, the setup here for Arbush allows them to make as many moves as they want, as we'll have the handoff and another run down the pitch. We're going to be seeing a short pass. Surely not.
Is this the triple? Looks like he's going to go for it. Can he make it? Yes, he can. It's a triple for the Chariot of Chads before the first half is even over. This is dominance from Arbush.
Wow. This is crazy. I thought this was going to be the turnaround point in that cage, but I think maybe, Shenzhen feeling the pressure to get in that score before the end of the half, sending their player up almost by themselves, and then those one dice blocks really, really hurt. So just a single turn left in this half, which Shenzhen can use to at least take out some aggression. As a perfect defense comes in, Chariot Chads will get to shift themselves around a little bit. I don't think they nearly need to change too much because their most expendable players are on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and it is now the final round anyways, so... Well, the final turn of the round, I should say. So they should be able to now just kind of have a little bit of an all-out brawl and try to injure as many players as possible coming into the second half. We'll see if that's going to happen. As I say, stunned, but that isn't nearly as useful now. You just want to see that injury pop up, or maybe even a death if you're lucky. But there's 2 stuns right now.
Wow, this has been the start. Well, this was the start of the half before for Shenzhen. Yeah, the power of the AV7 means these stuns are much more likely than any other context.
Yeah, exactly. And they're going to continue to attempt to pressure the other players, but right now it's looks like he isn't going to be able to make any more attacks happen. He's interestingly thrown the ball at that. Oh wait, it's the final turn. What am I about? Yeah, it's half time. And this is a very tough spot for Shenzhen now. He has to try and make up 3 goals in 8 turns. That's not an easy task by any means. We'll see if he's able to do anything though.
I mean, if you were to look at a game like this and say, get 3 goals in 8 turns, that seems so unlikely. In fact, the only place I've ever seen that happen before is in the first half of this game. So, I don't know, I'm fully prepared for something crazy to happen as a pitch invasion. Well, that's one way to mix things up. As we've got multiple knockdowns, it's looking like it's favoured towards Arbush's squad, though, with one more player knocked down.
Yep. And that's a Sunbearer man. So these players are going to be out for 2 separate turns. So now, with, I believe, also there was like a bit of a knockout that happened beforehand. This is looking like a big numbers advantage. I think that's maybe 3 or 4. I don't know. Now I'm understand it's like, I think there's 2 extra players for Arbush now on the pitches. Oh, the ball is fumbled, and that's a turnover.
Notable, though there wasn't a reroll used there. As we also get to see the advantage you get for, with the elves here moving through the opened up defense. The person defending the ball is going to get going on, and we can see that Queen, who was supposed to be defending the backfield, is currently down. Fortunately for the Amazon team, they at least don't have their player drop here and give up possession of the ball, but it's going to be pretty hard to get it back as the elves are pouring in.
Yeah, they are. There is just no defense. There's 2 players knocked down, so they can just walk through this flank. There's no one there to stop them. I say that, and then they get stopped, and there's a turnover. Why path that way? Come on.
I think that's a little bit of cockiness from Arbush's side, which is quite possibly justified when you're up 4 goals, as we do at least have the Queen able to pick up the ball. The thrower gets the throw across. The catch is fumbled, though. The reroll burned very early. It has tend to have been a bit of a trademark for Shenzhen of having those early reroll burns. Unfortunately for them, so far this game, they will be now getting up those stunned players from the kickoff event. So the Amazons will finally be back to full strength as a KO comes in. That's big. I think that's a second elf player. Yes, a second elf player KO'd off the pitch. And you can see from the Amazon side, they've got their full roster still.
Yeah, they do. So now if they're able to get up these players, keep them moving about, and yeah, you see, that's a cage getting set up. That's what I spot. And we'll see if he does choose to do that. There's now, bring the player. There's going to be a handoff now. And there we go. All of a sudden, it's Shenzhen with the control.
Yeah, very nicely done. I was a little heart-stopping seeing that handoff without the reroll, but it did go okay in the end. As we've got to watch out, though, for these elves who are currently down. This is definitely not a protected Talia ball carrier here. Is, oh man, the 83% dodge goes awry, but gets rerolled. Arbush has burned the reroll for the turn, but now they get the 2 die splits.
Yeah, this is going to be big.
Woo! That was the going for it. Rolling a 1, no reroll. Amazons wide open for the play.
Yep, and now there is just one player in the way, and I don't know what Shenzhen's doing going for these dice rolls here. That's very, very risky of him, but you know, he should just get rid of this player, and I think he needs to just pot the goal now, get it in there, score the touchdown, get your head up, and you got 2 more to make. As okay, didn't notice the block there. I thought that might have been.
That could have been disastrous if that had been an attacker down, but yeah, I think you're right. Shenzhen playing with fire a little bit here, trying to make those blocks before moving the ball carry up. Will finally get the chance to move it most likely out of reach for Arbush's squad. You can see most of Arbush's squad deep in the backfield here, nowhere near the ball carrier at all. One of the consequences of making those big commits that Arbush is so fond of.
Yeah, exactly, and it does mean that there will be another goal going over. Luckily enough, another turn bought. So if you look at the ratio, 3 turns for 1 goal. Overall, that's actually pretty damn good for Arbush, considering. Because if 3 goals need to be scored by Shenzhen, That doesn't divide by 3. He needs to be doing it faster.
No, you're right.
That's the sad thing.
There needs almost certainly needs to be some kind of favorable kickoff result or some kind of disaster from Arbush's side for Shenzhen to bring this one back in. Certainly getting that first goal is the first step towards at least forcing a draw. As we have got the Blitz coming in with multiple dodges, going for the ball carrier. Oh my gosh, look at those dice. But right into an attacker down and an attacker down as well. What a run.
It was so close to working. It was. I think he had to go for it to try and stop the goal. If he got a knockdown there, if he was able to do so to the ball carrier, that could have even possibly stalled out the turn. I saw that stalled the touchdown for another turn, which would have been huge for Arbush. But now, what I find interesting, he's rolling the dice here. I think he needs just to score. There we go. Get the touchdown. Get back on it. I understand you want to get some injuries, you want to try and get an advantage, but you don't have time to do that. You don't have risk. You need to just do it.
So there we go. First goal in for the Ravenous Tigress squad. Notable as well, though, we've got, as I mentioned before, 3 KOs from the side of the Elf squad. We'll see how many of them get up. 2 of them. That is unfortunate for the Amazons. Their numbers advantage mostly nullified by those good KO results.
Yeah, exactly. It's still a tough spot for Shenzhen here, and now I believe he's going to have to be the one who is kicking the ball. So not only does he now have to score 2 more goals, but the first objective really is going to have to be wrestling the ball out of the hands of Arbush and his Chariot of Chance.
All right, here we go. What's the kickoff going to be? It's very sunny. -1 to all passing rolls. That's not too shabby when you're up against a team like Arbush's, who have been getting a lot of mileage out of those passes.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see what Arbush has up his sleeve now. If I were him, I think there's a way you win this game by just laming it out, grabbing the ball, boxing your player up, and saying, you're not allowed this ball anymore, and we will knock you out if you try. I think that's a very valid strategy. I don't think he needs to score anymore. However, scoring gives you a lot of SPP, and that will allow you to level up your players, make them stronger in the long run. So, as I say that, there's the turnover.
Well, I think you're right. Yeah, at this point, Arbush has got no rerolls left at all. And we'd said something miraculous needed to happen for Shenzhen to get back into this game. That may have been the miracle made to order. It's a tough path to get to that ball, however. I don't know if the Amazons can punch through.
We'll see if they can. They're going to have to start punching, and that they do. They do still have a lot of players sat over the backline, and you have to keep in mind as well, Arbush just committed about 4 players to try and create this cage on the other side of the field. How is he going to get the ball to that cage now?
Ooh.
And that's also a very big injury to Valkyrie the Virgin. That was fun to say. But the Apothecary comes in, and there's no casualty. He joins the substitutes.
Well, the biggest thing about this as well is that means the ball is now unmarked. Shenzhen, unlike Arbush, does have that reroll, so it now picks up the ball once again. Will be able to... No, isn't going to go for the dots to try and provide more protection for that ball carrier. But still, has possession, is in Arbush's half of the field, has a chance to move up to 2-3.
Yeah, unfortunately, one thing to note is...
That was diving tackle. The only leveled up player on the Amazon squad has diving tackle, and that just caused one of the elf players to turn over immediately.
Oh, wow. So there goes Arbush's chance of retaliation. The good news is that, unfortunately, the ball carrier from the Ravenous Tigress is not in range right now to actually make the run. He's literally 1 square off of even with the going for it. So still another turn burnt for Shenzhen, and it's unfortunate because it's going to be about the 15th turn when he scores. That leaves what's that, 1 turn left. It's a decently mounted comeback. He's shown a lot of very good strategy, but it's not looking like enough right now. He's going to have to pull something special out the bag.
Yeah, I think again we need the blitz. We need some kind of extra turns coming in, maybe, to let Shenzhen manage to equalize here. But still, amazing stuff to be able to get the ball this time fully caged up the pitch. It doesn't look like the Elves are even going to try and get close there. Just instead looking to maybe try and punish some of the straggler players outside of the cage instead.
That's a no, and he's fell and stunned. Oh.
Okay,
and Arbush the Chad, not looking like such a Chad right there.
I think I do understand what the Elves are going for there. They're trying to open up a space for their players to run down the side of the pitch. As Amazons, you gotta run in the ball, please. You're killing me. Don't run. Don't make the block. Don't do anything. Don't do what it looks like you're about to do and foul someone while your ball carrier is completely open. This could be a turnover. This could cost them the goal.
It really could. I don't know why he's going for this.
Ooh.
Gets a knockout, which is good, but still. I mean, if that turned over, your game is over.
If it was doubles, that would have been a turnover. It was 5 and 6. It was 1 pip away from having that goal taken away. The Tigress is so aggressive. They can't give up the chance for an injury there, even in the face of a sure thing goal. That's goal number 2. But as you noted, time, I think, has run out for the Amazons unless this next kickoff result is incredibly favourable for them.
Yeah, we will have to see. I mean, it's very much possible that Arbush just happens to run the ball down his own pitch. But something tells me Arbush has a little bit of a brain, so that won't happen. I'm hoping, at least.
I mean, I'm trying to think of what could happen here. I'm trying to remember what all of the kickoff results are. I think there is one that lets you get an extra turn. I know there's certainly one that strips a turn away. As the kick goes up, what's it going to be? It's nothing special for the Amazon squad, so they've got 1 turn left to score in, and it's even a touchback, which means that the ball going off the pitch can be placed onto any of Arbush's players.
And if I were him, I would. That would be not the choice I would go for. It looks like he still wants to score. That's kind of impressive, actually. I appreciate the bravado there. But at the same time, he could just put his ball in the back and he would just secure a win. But then again, I don't know if there's much that Shenzi can do in retaliation. He's trying to set up for another touchdown, but he's putting his players at risk of injury here, even of death with a really, really bad roll. So it's not a decision I particularly agree with, but we'll see if it works out for him.
Well, you're right. This is part of the league. We're playing in a very long league. I think 22 weeks total, so it is a real concern, your preservation of players versus how much risk you want to take for those sweet SPP, as we do see another going for it with no reroll. That's only a stun, fortunately, but it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, it really could have been this turnover as well. Shenzhen, now, what can you do to stop this cage, this battalion running down the right flank of your pitch? What can you do? Let's see if he has anything in store.
Okay, so nearly all of the space is covered up here. We know this is Shenzhen's final turn, so I have to assume, based on their actions before, they're out to try and injure as many players as possible before the final whistle is blown. But it looks like there's going to be a line on the far right of the pitch where Arbush can just move down without even having to dodge.
Yeah, he just gifted another goal, but at the same time, I think the intent should be now to injure, to see how much damage he can deal to his squad for the long term, because right now, you're not going to... There's no way to salvage a goal from this. And yeah, it's just a handoff.
Oh, quick blitz to, I think, open up the space. Oh, there we go. So they didn't want to hand off to the line, to the genuine player there. Instead, going to go to Korean Sophia, who is going to level off this game. And now we'll have some SPP to spare at the end. That's the final whistle. It's 2-4. Arbush taking the victory there. Wow, that was quite a series of plays. I mean, I don't know how you feel about playing against Arbush in the future, but very, very hard to stop scoring.
Yeah, certainly. Unless you break his team's kneecaps. That's kind of my thinking right now. is he seems to be very willing to commit very deep. If I just put players all around him and kind of lock him down, I think that would be my kind of plan. If you were to go and try and defeat Arbush right now, but he is a very good player. He's just proven that. So, if you go through like a food chain theory, I lost to Shenzhen. Shenzhen lost to Arbush. Arbush has to be like 2 tiers above me if we're using that logic. So it'll be a fun match when I get to play it.
Yes. So the match taking place in Tigress Cave. So that's a home loss for the Tigress squad. Let's take a look at how the SVP laid out there. You can see both squads got a lot out of that last game. You can see Stoned, Valkyrie, Korean, all with 5+ SPP from that one. Zaya for the Tigress getting a full level's worth at the same time. So both teams made out relatively intact. I don't think there was too much in the way of... No, there were no deaths. I don't think there were any ongoing injuries either.
Yeah, so that's kind of the best result for both teams. You're getting out of that game both a lot of SPP and also not many injuries. I know my most recent game left me with many injuries and still, I mean, to be fair, a decent amount of SPP. But you don't want to be dealing with a lot of injuries this early on because it creates kind of a frustration where you're having to burn a lot of that early gold just on getting those players back in, which you really don't want to do.
So for Shenzhen squads, they'll be going up against the League of Dead Means, the Undead squad next time round. Whereas for Arbush's squad, going up against the Woody Woodpeckers, Uwu, run by Fatman Gandhi, a Wood Elven squad. Notable for the Tigers, or Tigress team rather, that they will be going up against the Chaos Dwarf squad, run by Valkyrie in day number 4 of competition. So that is going to be a rough ride for them. For now though, I've been Canafit, joined by Byron, and we hope to join you guys another time for even more Valanth Blood Bowl.